Hey, my name is Serena Talbot, and I'm a Rapid Transformational Therapist. I like to say I'm a therapist for people who don't like therapy and they just want to get to the root of the issue, release it, and move on. So I help people reprogram their minds for success. And I'm so excited to be part of the Action Coach team and meet you and get to know you. And today I just want to share my top 5 tips for getting through this time here in Wisconsin. As I'm making this video, we have 5 more weeks of quarantine and ways that you can keep a healthy mindset during that. So number 1 is limit your news as much as possible. So we have to be informed. We have to, be aware of what's going on. But right now, the news to get ratings is making a stressful situation even more stressful. And there's a lot of scientific evidence that the more you watch the news, the more you're on social media watching people argue or share opinions that maybe you don't agree with, or watch things that are troubling or whatever, the more it creates anxiety, anger, frustration, and a feeling of hopelessness. So watch the least amount possible that you can in your business, so that you feel like you're still on top of things, but you're not absorbing too much, because it's too much to process, and it's just making us so we can't be in the right state of mind. And as far as Facebook and social media, I know a lot of us have to work on there. We have to be on there to interact with people, but experiment with limiting that as well. I deleted it from my phone, and that just means I'm not checking it like when I'm bored or when I have a free minute. So be aware of that. And then if there's anybody consistently on there that you're seeing that's making you upset with what you see, and you don't have to, snooze them for 30 days. Because there's just a lot of people who are hurting and angry and frustrated. And we just, to take that in and make that our focus is going to keep us away from our goals, keep us away from a healthy mindset. So tip number 2 is try not to, and don't, focus on what you can't control, which is easier said than done. So what we cannot control right now is this pandemic. We don't know the length. We get dates, and then they may change. They may be later or sooner than what we hoped. We can't control this pandemic and how it affects people and how long it's going to last. 2 is we can't control the economy and what it's doing. That is out of our control. The stock market, our ability to sell, our buyers' willingness to buy, none of that is within our control. So, and the 3rd thing is how other people are responding. So you may be in a house with people responding in a way that's driving you crazy or that you don't agree with. You may have relatives. You may have people around you or that you're interacting with who are responding in a way that you would rather they didn't. But that is out of your control. So all those 3 things, try your best to not focus on them. So don't be trying to read and guess all the ways that this may or may not happen with a pandemic. Don't spend a ton of time reading about it. Don't spend a ton of time looking at the economy and what it's going to look like. And I understand we have to do all this as business owners, but if you're going to do it, see how much time you're focusing on it, see how it makes you feel when you're done, and see if you're able to take positive actions to do something that you have control over at the end of it. If it's just making you feel defeated, depressed, anxious, and angry, then you don't actually have to be looking. And as far as other people, we need to have a ton of compassion right now for everybody having their own experience, their own circumstances, people just being terrified. Maybe they don't have any income and they don't know what to do. And so they're behaving in ways that maybe in 6 weeks they're going to also regret. So we need to have a lot of compassion with that. Don't argue. It's not going to accomplish anything. And with all of these 3 things we can't control, we need to start moving over to things that we can control. And the only thing we can control is ourselves. So that leads me to tip number 3, which is feel your feelings. And this is not a popular thing I don't think it's popular with anybody except therapists, but it's really important to be aware of how you're feeling. The more that we ignore our feelings or push them down or or say I shouldn't be feeling this and I don't want to feel that way, the more we prolong negative feelings and we're not able to have positive feelings, we're not able to be in the positive mind space to make the decisions that we need to make right now and move our businesses in the way that we need to move them right now. So feel your feelings. A lot of times when I used to think that, I thought, oh God, I have to go cry in the corner. But all it is really acknowledging them. Like, I feel anxious. I feel angry. I feel scared. And as you do that, as you just sit there and go, that's fine. It's fine. You don't judge it. You don't think you're stupid or weak. And you don't try to go, well, I have to be positive. So you don't try to like wrestle yourself out of it. Just let it be. It'll probably take 30 seconds or a minute or 10 minutes. And you'll be able to move on to a positive emotion. So this doesn't mean you're crying all the time. But if you need to cry, cry. And it may not be the way we all are behaving right now is probably not our normal. You may have, like, the last time you ever cried, you were like 3 years old or 20 or something, and now you're feeling like you need to cry. Just cry. It'll probably take like 30 seconds and you'll be done. But when we deny it and we go, oh my gosh, I don't cry. I'm not a person that cries, or I'm not a person that's depressed. I'm positive. And we shove it down, we're going to prolong the negative feeling. So that's all it means, is acknowledge it. Don't judge yourself. Don't say you should be feeling something else, and then it'll go. And then you can stay more in the positive place that you want to be. And understand all the emotions are allowed. Being depressed more than you maybe have ever experienced, but definitely more than your normal, is fine. Being anxious or scared, angry, it's all allowed. It's all normal. We're humans going through a hard time. Number 4 is create a morning routine or a daily routine. I suggest the morning, that keeps your mindset in the space that you want it, where you're choosing and you're directing how you're going to be thinking, so that you can carry that throughout the day and be prepared and be responding, not reacting to the craziness that we're all living in. So number 1 is write 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for. So scientists, now that they can measure our brains, have found that gratitude, it increases happy hormones like dopamine and serotonin, and it tells our brain to focus on more good things. So we set it in the morning. You give your mind kind of directions, like, we're looking for good things, and your mind will be like, okay, and then it'll continue to do that throughout the day. You can actually change how your brain is wiring when you do this. It's really powerful. So 2 or 3 things you're grateful for every day. It doesn't matter if they're the same, different, whatever, but it's focusing your mind on things that are good. Maybe that yesterday or this whole situation, a few things that are good. Gratefulness is powerful. Number 2 is spend 3 to 5 minutes in silence, meditation, or prayer. So your mind always is just going to be running, thinking, being anxious, spinning. So we need to spend a few minutes every day getting out of the mind. And that doesn't mean you're not thinking. It means you're just spending 3 to 5 minutes breathing, focusing on your breath, listening to white noise or music, or do a guided meditation, or, if you believe in God or a higher power, inviting that into your life, and getting just out of your mind into this calm space that we all have access to, but most of us don't do it. And that's going to carry with you through your day too. And that's very powerful. Number 3 that you need to make a part of your daily routine, I'm suggesting every single day, but absolutely 3 to 5 days a week, is exercise. So as we are all going through this stressful time, it's actually stress hormones, cortisol, building up in our bodies, and exercise releases it. So walk in like 20 minutes, or like dance for 10 minutes. Do something every day to just clean that out. I picture it like if you have a fish tank and it doesn't have a filter and it gets all nasty and green, like that's what's happening. There's a ton of stress floating around and we are absorbing it into our bodies. It's there more than normal. And if we don't, exercise is the filter. Exercise is going to clean that up and make our stress levels go down, which we all absolutely need to do right now. So probably you already have an exercise routine, but if you don't, I really encourage you to do it every day, 10 to 20 minutes, walk, dance, do yoga, do something really simple if it's not familiar. And look, we have 5 weeks to make this morning routine a practice. So you don't have to be perfect at it, just make it your goal. You know, by the end of May, I'm going to exercise 20 minutes every day, and it's energizing you as well. It's releasing stress hormones, and it's creating energy, because stress is making us tired now. So definitely exercise. And then the last thing, it can be optional, you know, whatever your comfort level is with this, but I would write or talk to yourself. Some people were talking about putting it on a recording device, like just do a brain dump. This also is releasing cortisol, where you're like, you know, say your frustrations, or write out, you know, what you're worried about, or things that are terrible right now, and just get it out somewhere else so it's not spinning around in your mind all day. That's really helpful. So that's number 4. Number 5 is reconnect with your why. So I love that this opportunity to work with business owners, because business owners are the people in society who have already done this. You've looked around and you've gone, I'm going to create my own path. I'm going to live life on my terms. And so right now, and you've done that maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, whatever it is, right now is a really good time to reconnect with it, like we would like at the beginning of a year. And you know, Tony Robbins says, we don't change unless the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. And there's pain right now. So not to sound offensive, you know, because this is painful for us, but it's a really good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to pause, reset, reflect. You know, a lot of us are having a closer relationship with our family right now, and we can say, okay, as we get out of this in the next month, in the next 2 months, in the next 6 months, how do I want my business to be different after this situation? Because what pain does is it brings to light our values. If we're living in our values or if we're not, right? Conflict is going to make us say, okay, I need to make some changes, maybe big changes, maybe little changes, and we can be evaluating those right now. And you can ask yourself, what resources do I need in the next 5 weeks? And work it backwards. What actions do I need to take in the next 5 weeks? And start now and next week and the next week, and set some goals so that when we come out of this, you're going to have a business that's more aligned with your values. You know, that may be more time off with family, or purposeful connections with family, or maybe if you have a crappy situation that's showing up right now of broken relationship, maybe in the next 5 weeks you're going to work on that. You're going to watch some videos or read a book or learn about that, and then at the end of it you may, you know, decide to go to counseling together or something like that. But this is a really good time to be thinking about the choices that we want to make moving forward. And I know a lot of people are talking about that, but make sure you're doing it. Make sure you're actually spending some time writing things down, journaling, planning, and then, you know, deciding how you want things to look. So I am available now to the Action Coach, to all of you. I do Rapid Transformational Therapy sessions online. So I can do that from my home office, and you can be in the comfort of your own home. If you have a mindset area that you want to shift over the next 5 weeks to come out as we reopen and as things go back to a new normal, and you want to dig in and work on something, get to the root so that you can have the mindset that you want, I'm available to do that. But I'm also offering free 30-minute mindset sessions. So this is where you just check in. If you have something that you're struggling with, if you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't go deep, I'm just like treading water, that we may be able to work together to get some strategy on how you're going to help your mindset, especially if you're just overloaded with, you know, work, kids at home, whatever it is. I want to be available for you to talk through those things that you're struggling with. So my information will be with this video somewhere. My website is serenatalbot.com, and I'm so excited to be here.